I've got a question about you mentioned the rehearsal period. Could you talk a little bit more about the process of working with the cast and the rehearsal process and how that then?
Yes. First of all, the word rehearsal has two different meanings, two applications in this whole thing. There's a period that precedes the shoot, which is usually quite long. I mean, it's like 12, 14, 16, 18 weeks, whatever, sometimes even longer. Which is not so much about rehearsing in the conventional sense of practicing the detail of what's going to actually happen in front of the camera. More, it's about bringing the whole world of the thing into existence. And I'll return to that in a moment, which is what you're really asking me. But then, during the shoot, as I've already just been talking about, you have rehearsal times where we stand down the crew to create, because I can only really create an actual piece of action, that's to say the thing the camera is going to shoot, by being in the location. I can only write it by seeing it. I can't, it's not a theoretical thing. So then we are actually rehearsing in the conventional use of the word, i.e. developing stuff which we make very precise by repetition, rehearsing. But the earlier period, which I think is what you're asking me about, is a period of collaborating with the actors, generally beginning working with them each separately, one at a time, on creating characters, then putting them together. At the same time, all sorts of research going on to start to flesh them out. But then really starting to do improvisations of what wind up being a very long and elaborate kind, which really is living through their whole lives and relationships and everything, moving towards the time present of what will then turn out to be the action. It's a long and complicated thing, and we do it always by finding some old building somewhere with multiple spaces, and which isn't being shared by any other activity, and working with a small support team, and working very thoroughly. And actors are contracted to do that. I mean, very often pretty well always, you can't, unless it's a very tiny cast, you can't have everybody there, or you can't afford, or would you want to have everybody there all the time, because a lot of the time people will be sitting around not doing anything. So I part of the creative process for me before it all happens is to make decisions about creating a pyramid where you start with 2 people and then more people join in, and so on and so on, and then you contract them so that they will be on it during the shoot for a certain amount of period, but always with an option to extend, and you have to take that option up before the first day of principal photography. So obviously you have to have practicalities. I mean, in the end, and I'm going to have to do this in a few weeks, the actual creative casting decisions, not least because you don't actually know what it really is that you are doing. It's all possibilities. It's a combination of the creative, the imaginative, and the practical, and the financial, and the realistic.
Thank you.
One of the things that I remember just from Vera Drake was you talked about the arrest sequence and like the rehearsal, just sort of keying in on that question there about like working with the actors to be able to create that. Yeah. I believe it was a 10 hour?
An 11 hour, but what happened was that that happened about 3 months into the work, in the rehearsal period. We rehearsed it, that's to say, prepared it in the way I've just been describing, in that disused hospital near Alexandra Palace, between Crouch End and Alexandra Palace, that's now a new NHS facility next to the swimming pool, if you know that part of town. And it's quite a big hospital, big empty hospital. The family, the Drake family, we for weeks and months actually had them, as it were, living in this what had actually been an apartment used by doctors and nurses on night shifts. And they were just used to being the family there, and they, I have to explain that one of the key things that I have to do to get all this to work when we're investigating new material, I say as distinct from the historical films, is that when I invite an actor to take part in the project, I will say, please be in the film. I can't tell you what the character is because you and I are going to collaborate to create a character. But I can't tell you what it's about because we don't know that. We're going to discover that. But most important of all is you will never know anything about the whole thing except what your character knows. Now that's a very serious and important element because, and that's of course absolutely nothing to do with being enigmatic or obscurist. It's a practical thing. It means that that you can really explore situations, relationships where they really are, it's for real. And in a way, the one you're inviting me to describe, which I will, is a perfect example of what that's all about because the actors in the family didn't know that she was an abortionist because they didn't. She didn't know that the last one they didn't know that there had been other rehearsals when they went there with each of a whole number of different actresses playing different women and girls for whom she arranged terminations, and she didn't know that the last one had gone wrong, and she didn't know that there were actors playing doctors and nurses, and none of them knew that there were other actors playing the police, and the people playing the police thought that you're going to arrest this woman who was discovered that was apparently called Vera Drake. They expected an aggressive woman who was going to give them a hard time, and nobody knew anything other than what they would know. And so we created there was an old, at one end of the hospital, what they call Anderson Ward, big old-fashioned hospital ward. We created a police station. We had spent, the guys playing the cops, and the actors playing the
That'll be Peter White.
WPC, Peter White playing the detective inspector. We spent several days with a retired real detective inspector who remembers life before the 1967 Abortion Act, etc., etc. So we created a whole police station, including fingerprinting and all that. The actors in the family had no idea that was going on at all. So we had this then 11-hour improvisation, which is to say, the actors in character, in costume, with real food and all the rest of it. And one of the people said to me, now, of course, do you instruct them what's going to happen? I never do, because that would be completely pointless. So you just set up the premise, and then my job is to, and I never once it's happening, you don't hear a peep from me. My job is just to listen and learn, basically. And we do it with the minimum amount of other folks around. And that one went on for 11 hours. It was dynamic, it was terrifying, it was wonderful. And of course, my job as a filmmaker, dramatist, is to sit there thinking, seeing the possibilities and actually thinking yes, yes, no, but just in your head, really. Because 2.5 months later, in the location in Stepney Green, in the real flat, we then were able to reconvene, and they were all able to plug into their experience, their recall of what happened in that improvisation. And through improvising and then rehearsing and pinning it down, and in the location, we were able to arrive at 11 hours. The whole film was only 2.5 hours. So that's how it worked.
Find us at nodirectionhome.com.